I understand when we tell the people of our country, please be patient, take a different approach because your regime is an anti-Israeli, anti-American regime. Take some friends and solve your situation. I understand that if the regime, as I said, is an anti-Israeli, anti-American regime, but all of these regimes which we're talking about are American-controlled regimes. So how can we differentiate between them? Anyway, what is going on in Bahrain, my dear brothers, is not a sectarian movement. It is not a sectarian movement. What is going on in Bahrain is arms. The people of Bahrain are resorting to their own weapon. Of course, their weapon is a peaceful movement anyone would resort to. And this will not, of course, the approach taken by the Bahraini regime will not affect the people of Bahrain. My speech, what I call for, I call on the people of Bahrain not to be affected by the voices of sectarianism. Do not be affected by their media or their religious fatwas, their religious decrees, because there are other religious clerics in the Islamic world from the Sunni sect as well who stand side by side with you, who support your rights. I would like to say to our brothers and sisters in Bahrain, be patient, put up with these hardships, continue to defend your rights. I tell the people of Bahrain, my brothers and sisters, here because I know the people, I tell our brothers in Bahrain, you have, the opposition in Bahrain of course, you have a courageous, vigilant leadership. Listen to your leadership. Be in agreement with your leadership. Your blood, my dear brothers, your blood and your wounds will defeat the tyrants and will force these tyrants to recognize your rights. Of course, the leaders he was referring to were the leaders of the Bahraini opposition. And we must salute your situation today. And what is happening deserves your martyrdom, deserves your continued efforts, even if this time could continue. Now, I say to the leaders, to the regimes in Libya and in Yemen and in Bahrain, how do you imagine the future will be? How do you imagine that your governments will be able to function and for you to continue to reign after all of these practices of injustice, after all of these crimes, after all of this humiliation, after all of this bloodshed? How can you imagine to continue in your leadership? Whatever be the measures you take to continue to hold power, in the end you will fall. So save yourselves before it's too late. Number 5, I call on the Arab and Islamic countries to take their responsibility. What is happening in every Arab world, there must be responsibility towards what is going on in every Arab country. Yes, it is their duty to intervene. It's a duty to intervene. Not to send armies to oppress people, but to defend people. The Arab governments and the Islamic governments must take their responsibility, and this will prevent foreign intervention, meaning Western intervention. Unfortunately, today, because the Arab governments and the Arab rulers and the Islamic rulers, most of them of course, because they didn't take their responsibilities, this opened the door wide open for the American and Western intervention in Libya. And we don't know where this intervention will lead to in Libya. This opens the door wide open to foreign intervention in every Arab country, and this could take us back to the era of colonialism, of occupation or division or anything else, anything similar. At this historic period, it is a duty of anyone who is capable in this ummah or in this nation to intervene in order to find solutions. Today, for example, in Yemen, today in Bahrain, of course Libya now is in the past. We can't do anything about Libya anymore, but there is a problem of trust between the opposition and the rulers in Yemen and in Bahrain. That's the situation in Yemen, that's the situation in Bahrain. A lack of trust. The opposition doesn't trust the rulers for certain reasons which are unique to each of Yemen and Bahrain. Where is the Arab mediation here? Where is the mediation of the OIC, the Organization of the Islamic Conference? There are certain regional countries some countries who support both the opposition and the rulers, and they could play a role of mediation. Those countries who send their armies to Bahrain, they instead should have sent foreign ministers to Bahrain in order to play a role of mediation, a sincere role of mediation. But this still hasn't happened. They sent their armies instead. Today, also, in this day of solidarity with the Arab people, the call I make is that there is a necessity for the rulers in this ummah, the religious clerics, the intellectuals, the political parties, anyone who has the ability to have a certain effect in order to bring about appropriate solutions in this country or that country, which could lead to preserving unity, to preserving the geographic boundaries of a country, preserving its sovereignty, putting a stop to the bloodshed, and achieving a certain level of the demands of his people. Anyone who has such ability should in fact intervene, should play a role. Now, the last issue I want to speak about, after speaking about the